Hello guys, welcome you all to the ninth session of Pandas data frame. So what is our agenda today? First of all, we have already discussed loc and iLoc index, iLoc in the series section, but we will review it in the context of data frame, and thereafter we will continue by how we will extract uh, by using the level and by using the index positions. Fine. So first of all, let's create this file day9.ipynb file, and thereafter let's import these two libraries pandas and numpy, and then you have to read this nutrition data frame. Fine. So these things we used to do in every session, so there is nothing new in this. Now let's come to our main topic. So in Python, there is two things. One is called, let me write here, loc and iLoc. Loc and iLoc are used for indexing and selecting data from the pandas data frame. These two are used for indexing and selecting data from a pandas data frame. And they have some differences in terms of how they handle the selection. So basically, loc stands for level based indexing. Fine. And this loc is primarily level based indexing, meaning that you refer to the index and column names when selecting the data. And this is a syntax. If let's say df is your data frame, then the syntax is df.loc, and inside this square bracket, you need to put first row level, row underscore level, and then you have to put column level, column underscore level. This is basically the index syntax for the loc index. One important thing that you need to remember it, that in case of loc, it includes the last element even when you are using the slicing, and it requires the exact levels you are looking for. So first of all, let's take one example, and then we will see this with the help of example. So let's create one data frame to understand this loc. So I'm creating one data frame. You should also keep typing along with me. And let's say inside this data frame, I'm using A as my column level, and inside this, let's put some value 1, 2, 3. Then create, let's say B, B, and inside this B, let's put 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Thereafter, let's close this. Now, one thing I also want to put index here. So let's put index here. Index is equal to, let's put index is equal to this. Index is equal to the form of list. Let's put X as my first index, then Y as my second index, and let's say Z is my third index. So now let's create this data frame, and let's put df, the name of this data frame, df. So if I will run this, my df data frame is created. And if I access this data frame, let's see what I am getting. I am getting this data frame. I have created this data frame, And this data frame is having the index XYZ. Can you see? XYZ is my index and AB is my column. And these are the values. 1, 2, 3 is the values inside this column. And inside this column B, 4, 5, 6 is my values. I have created this data frame for the purpose of demonstrating you how we are going to use loc inside any data frame. This is just an example. So if let's say I want to access one element called, let's say this is my Y index position and this is my A column. Let's say I want to access this too. So how can I access this with the help of loc index? If let's say if I write df dot loc, and then if first thing that I have to put is my index row level. So my row level here is Y. And what is my column level? To access this too, what is the column level? Column level is my A. So if I write here A, so I have given both the position, row position and the column position. Now, if I run this, I will get my data 2 because I have given here Y as my row and A as my column. Let's say if you put instead of this, this is just for demonstrating you. If you put here iLoc, we have not yet discussed iLoc. I am going to discuss. See what I am getting. If I put it, I will get a error. Can you see? I am getting an error. What is my error? Location-based indexing can only have integers. That means this iLoc thing that if I will use, it will only contains the integers. That means the start point is included and also it can be included. Integer slice can also be included. That's why start position is included, endpoint is excluded. Fine. So we cannot use iLoc here. We can only use loc here. This is just for your understanding. Now, so you must be clear about how we are going to use the iLoc here. Now let's see iLoc. What is this iLoc? So iLoc, let me write here iLoc. iLoc. iLoc is called integer based indexing. Integer based indexing. It is called iLoc. What it means? iLoc is integer location based indexing, where you use integer positions to select data. And the syntax of this iLoc is df dot iLoc, and then here we were using the row level and column level. Instead of this, you have to use row underscore position and column position. That is, position means exact integer value. You have to put the exact integer value of the row position and the column position. Then and only it is going to work. Now, since it is including the integer value, so it excludes the last element when using slicing and allows you to use integer position regardless of your actual levels. So now let's understand this same data frame. We are using the same data frame, this df that I have just now created. So same data frame, in the same data frame, I'm going to use this iLoc to access the same value. Let's say, let's access this thing. Now, if let's say the same two, if I want to access here with the help of my iLoc, what shall I write here? Can you please tell me, Varun? What shall I write here? iLoc? Varun?
Yes, sir.
What shall I write here if I want to access the same value to using this iLoc? What shall I write?
Sir, 0, 1.
0, 1. Okay, Fine. Let's do it. If I write 0, 1, am I getting my value? I want to access 2.
Sir, 2.
Yes, 2. This 2.
Sir, I thought you were saying 4. Sir, for 2, 1, 0.
1, 0. Correct. 1, 0. So if I use 1, 0, I will get this 2. So I suppose it is clear. So let me tell you some key differences between loc and iLoc. Key differences. Let me write some key differences there for your references. So first thing is that loc uses labels for indexing. And iLoc uses integer based positions. Fine. This is the first difference. Second thing is that loc is inclusive for slices. Slices means it includes the last element, while iLoc is exclusive for slices. This is clear. Why iLoc is exclusive? Because it is using integer, and we know that it excludes the last element. Third difference is that loc requires requires exact levels, whereas iLoc works with integer position regardless of the level. Integer positions regardless of the levels. Fine. So these are the main differences between loc and iLoc. So what I want, choose between loc and iLoc based on your needs. If you want to select data based on levels, use loc. If you want to select data based on integer positions, use iLoc. Fine. This is all clear. Now, what is now I'm going to discuss something which is called, since I have discussed this, extraction from data frames by label, label. So how you can extract data frames by label? First of all, let's access this nutrition data frame for our reference, because we are going to work on that data frame only. So I'm putting this nutrition.head, and let's access this data frame. So this is my data frame. First of all, what is the first thing that I want in this data frame? Let's do a little modification that we have done earlier. First, I'm setting name as my index column in this data frame. So to set the name as an index column, we have to write we have already done this thing. I'm just repeating it once again. Set underscore index, and you have to put name here, NAME. And since I want these changes to be permanent, I have to use the in place parameter. In place is equal to true. If I just do this, and if I run this, now if I will again access my this data set, I will get name as my index. let's see. Now I'm getting name as my index. Can you see? I'm getting name as my index. Now, let's do one thing. Here, this is something called eggplant in the row column. If you see this eggplant, comma row, and this is something called row, eggplant, comma raw. So if let's say if you want to find what is inside this row, so what you are going to use? You are going, because you are using here something called index by index level you are going to use. If let's say if I want to access this row, this entire row, so what I am going to use? I am going to use loc. Because why loc? Because I am not using the integer based indexing here. I'm using this level based indexing, and the name of this index level is eggplant, comma row. So for this, I will put nutrition dot loc, loc, and thereafter I have to write this name. Let's copy this name from here. Let's copy and paste it here. If I will run this, what I am getting? I am getting this entire row. This entire row. This eggplant, comma row, and the values that is present inside this rows. So this eggplant row, then I'm getting serving size, calories, total fat, whatever is present here, I'm getting all those things. And this is basically, if you see, this is basically a series. It is giving me a series. If you remember what series was, so you can see this is basically a series. You can even check it. So let's check this. If you will check the type of this, if let's say I'm checking the type of the above thing, you will get series. Can you see this is a series? I'm getting series. That means if you will access one particular row from this data frame, nutrition data frame, the thing that you will get is basically a series. And that series is having all the column values for that particular row. This particular eggplant row, for this particular row, what are the column values of each one of the thing? You will get as a in the form of a series. This is the first thing. Now let's say instead of this is when you want to access the entire row. Now let's see, say I do not want to access the entire row. I want to access some particular element. Let's say this is my calorie column, fine, and this is eggplant raw column, row. So I want to access, let's say this element, this thing, this 25. If I want to access this 25 using this loc indexing, what you have to do? I have to supply, because earlier I was supplying only the row. So I have to supply both row and the column. So inside the row position, what shall come? This eggplant and this comma row, and the column position will be calories. If you can see the intersection of these two is this value 25. So you will get this 25. Let's see it. I am writing nutrition dot loc, and after that let's put this thing inside this. Let's write, okay, let's do one thing. Let's just copy this thing, I think, from here and paste it here. So one thing is row is, now I'm using a second square bracket, and inside this second square bracket I am writing calories, calories, calories. So now if I will access this, I will get the value, this 25, which I was talking about. what I was doing right now, I'm accessing my row and I'm accessing my column and I'm getting this value. So whatever value you use to you want to access, you will get like this. Now, there's one different way to do the same thing. If you do not want to write the two square bracket, you can even write this inside a single square bracket. So single square bracket basically signifies that your first uh, thing will be the row and the second thing will be your column. So this, when you are supplying this, that means you are supplying the row level that you want to access, this row level eggplant, and the second thing that you are supplying is your column level. So inside the column level, you want to access calories. Inside the row level, you want to access this eggplant, comma row. If you will run this, you will get the exact same value. So there is no difference between these two. So these are the two methods you can use. So the key thing to note here is that the log indexer for data frame accepts two arguments. And think of the first as two arguments. Think of the first as specifying the levels, that is the row level that we are interested in. And the second argument as specifying the column level that we want to from the column axis. So basically, there are two axes, row axis and the column axis, because we are dealing with the two-dimensional data set. Now, you must have known this. Now, let's suppose I want to access, let's see this data frame. Yes, Varun, can you please, do you have any queries? If you want to have any queries, please tell me. Or if it's all, if it's about time, then it's fine. So, okay, let me see. Okay. Fine. Now, see, now let me do one thing. If let's say, let me take you, let's see this data frame first. So, if suppose I want to access this eggplant comma row till this sherbet comma orange. From here till here, inside the row, I want to access these three things. And inside the column, let's say from calories till cholesterol, if I want to access. So what can I do in that case? So we know we have a method called slicing. So we can use here the slicing method to access the values for more than one row and one column. So let's use slicing here. To use slicing, you have to put here colon, and then you have to put this thing. Let me copy this thing from here. Copy. And where? I have to write this thing, then put here and just paste it. Fine. So this is basically my row. So I want to access inside this row. I want to access from eggplant till sherbet. Now, in the column, I want to access from calories to cholesterol. So I have to put this cholesterol. So let's write CHLO, CHLO, CHL, CHOLESTROL, cholesterol. If I put cholesterol, and then if I will run this nutrition.log, what is wrong that I am doing here? Calories, cholesterol. So I am doing something wrong here. dot log nutrition dot log eggplant raw sherbet orange comma calories CALORIES comma cholesterol. Let me check the spelling. LESTEROL. Okay. So I was writing the I run this, I'm getting this thing. Fine. Can you see? With the help of this slicing, I am able to access more than one row and more than one column. So this slicing works in the same way, whatever we have studied in the Python list, slicing in the Python list. So this is what you are getting, the data frame. And this data frame is basically a slice of the original data frame. Now, instead of this, you can also do, if let's say I do not want to use slicing, and let's say if I want to use some particular, let's say if I want to use a list of columns and a list of rows, or a list of rows and a list of column, then what you need to do for that? For that, what you need to do, let's say if I want to use here, let's see first this data set. So inside this, what is, okay, it's better if I can use, let's do one thing, write nutrition dot head and stick 10. Fine. Now, let's see one thing. If I want to use something like nutrition dot log, first write nutrition dot log, and then put this square bracket, and inside this square bracket, let a list of something like, if I want to put it like this, if I want to put it, let's say, where is my raspberries? There is one thing called, okay, cauliflower cheese. Okay, fine, not an issue. Let's write it here. If I write RASPBE raspberries, comma, let's say raw. Fine. And then write one another thing called blackberries, BLACKBERRIES berries, comma raw. These are the two things that, or first do one thing, first write raspberries underscore raw. That will be a good idea. And then write one another list, put one another list, and inside this list, write protein, comma, vitamin B6. Vitamin underscore B6. So now what is this vitamin B6? This is basically, I'm just explaining. Let's res PBERRIES, comma raw. Okay, I have forget to mention here comma, then writes protein, comma, vitamin B6. So what I am doing here, inside this index, name index, I am giving raspberries, comma raw. There is one thing called raspberries, comma raw that is not coming here because I'm using only the first time. It is somewhere inside this row. So I'm using something called raspberries, raw. That is one I'm putting only inside this list. I'm supplying only the list of one row. And inside this column, I'm supplying the list of two values, uh, two column. What is this column? Protein and vitamin B6 underscore V6. So inside this index, I am getting this row.
Sir,
But is comma row raw. Yes.
sir, I'm not able to get the same result. In my case, it's showing error.
You must not be getting an error. So if this is, let's see if you are writing anything, if you are missing something.
Sir, can you please do up?
Or otherwise, I am ping you this code. That would be a good idea. Let me ping this code. Yeah, I have given you this code. Just copy and paste it. It may be possible that you must be doing some kind of spelling mistake. So just see this.
Done, sir.
So now are you getting is error still coming?
No, no, sir.
Fine. So basically what we have done? We have basically accessed one row value and the two column values. Can you see here? With the help of this lock. Now what I'm going to do next thing is that I'm going to access two row values and some more column values. So let's write one more raw value here. And this time I am writing blackberries, BLACK, BERRIES, berries, comma, raw, RAW, raw. And then inside this column, protein, vitamin C, let's add one more column, water. And again access it. Can you see? Now I'm getting two rows and three columns. And I'm doing all this by using my row indexer. That means the lock indexer. This lock indexer, I am using my lock indexer to access these things from the data frame. Now the second thing, so this is all about the lock. Now the second thing is called the iLoc. So what we are going to study in this iLoc? This is called, if you will let me write it here. Second thing is called data frame extraction, data frame extraction by position, extraction by position. So we are going to use the data frame extraction by position with the help of iLoc. So I'm going to use iLoc here. Let's access first 10 records. If I will access the first 10 records, I'm getting this thing. Now, this is for our reference so that. Now, let's say same thing what I was doing there. If I will use nutrition dot iLoc, and if I put 3 here. So what am I supposed to get? This is my 0, this is my 1, this is my 2, this is my. If I use this thing, I'm getting this. Serving size 100 gram. Calories this is also a series. Can you see? Serving size, calories 367. Calories 367. So basically this row I'm getting. Because this is my 0, this is my 1, this is my 2, and this is my 3. I have given here 3. So I am getting the third or fourth row. Because the row position is starting from 0. So I'm getting the fourth row, and the entire column value inside the fourth row, I am getting the all those things, and this is in the form of a series. This is also in the form of a series. You can also write this. Let's say what you are doing actually, if we are, this is the same thing. If you, I will write here this thing 3 comma this colon. What it means? It simply means here what it means that I'm giving here the role, I'm giving here the row value of this row index, position of this row, that is third, and I'm not giving the position of my column. So by default it is taking the entire column, and this is same as 3 comma if you will put this colon. It, what this colon signifies, starting from the first position till the end position, it means that. So this will also give you the same thing. If you will run it, this and this thing will give you the same result. Now, if let's say, if you want to give some here, instead of this, in the iLoc, if you want to give a list of some values, so how you will give? Instead of this 3, if you will write here a list, and I want to give it list of some values, let's say 4 comma 6 comma 8, I am giving it a list of my rows basically. And in the column section, I am just putting this thing, this column. It simply means that in the list position, in the row position, I want 4, 6, and 8th row. 4th, 6th, and 8th row. And this is my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then this 6, and then this 8. And inside this column, I'm giving this semicolon, this colon, this. It means it is I want to include all the columns, starting from first column to the end. So if I will run this, I am getting these 3 rows, 4, 6, and 8. These 3 rows, and column, I am getting the entire column. This is all. And let's say if you will do, instead of this, if you write, instead of this, if you will write something like this, let's put the name of some column here. I am putting this, let's say total underscore fat. This is my column. If you will see, you will understand. Let's say this is my total underscore fat column. If I want to put it, what shall I get? I will get an error. Why? Because this iLoc doesn't accept values in the form of this string. It will always accept the value, either the row level value or the column level value. It will always accept in the form of integer. So this is something that we are not supposed to do, and it will throw me an error. Instead of this, if you write something like this, if you write something like this, let's remove this total fat and let's write some column value. I'm writing second column. So this time what you will get? You will get the value from the second column only. Here you are getting the value from all the columns because you have included all the columns. Here I've included only one column, second column. So I'm getting the values from the second column only. You can also use slicing here. If I, let's say, if I will do slicing here, I want from 2 till, let's say, 5. If I want to do, so what shall I get? I am getting second, third, and fourth. Fifth is not included here. If you will see the original data set, you can see this is my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is my 5. Sodium is my 5, and sodium is not included. Only till cholesterol I am getting, because the last position is not included while you are slicing, while you are doing the slicing in integer form. Fine. So this is also one way to achieve the thing. So another thing worth mentioning here is that both the iLoc and the loc indexer support Boolean mask for data frame 2. And the syntax is identical to what we saw for series, except it now extends over both the axes. So let's look at a Boolean mask, or let's do one thing. I will be discussing the Boolean mask in the next session. So let's keep this session till here. In the next session, we will be discussing the Boolean mask. So let's now commit the code to GitHub. So loc and
Sir,
yes, loc
sir,
and
as the time is already 10:47,
okay,
so instead of taking a new session, you can continue with this one.
okay, fine. Loc and iLoc uh, discussed. So let's do this. Let's do this. Sync changes. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Keep watching, keep learning, keep commenting. If you guys are having any doubts, you can definitely ask the questions. Fine. Thanks for coming.